Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Painting with Foster the Meeple. My name is Zach, and once again, we're painting another investigator from Mansions of Madness. This time, it's Agatha Crane. And we're doing this as part of the hashtag MyMiniYourMini challenge on Instagram. Go check it out there. Starting out with our flesh tones using Army Painter's Barbarian Flesh. I did use a couple of coats of Barbarian Flesh over all of the skin parts on this model. I am doing the hands, even though I will paint them white later on to match the gloves on the card art. I did want a little bit of skin highlight around the wrists. For the hair, I started off with using a base coat of uniform gray. I was hoping to work my colors up from a darker gray up to white, and I end up switching here because I didn't think that this was giving me a dark enough base, so I did switch to using some Necromancer's Cloak to get that darker initial layer. Since I had it on my palette still, I used more Necromancer's Cloak on the inside of the lab coat. Of course, this area would be more shaded than the rest of the lab coat, so I thought I'd get that done. I also use a little bit here in the darker recesses of the coat. Then I go back with the uniform gray, and I'm going over the whole thing. I want to do a layered effect here where I'm keeping things kind of wet with the different shades of gray and trying to get some smooth blends here. Here I start mixing in some ash gray to the other colors I've been using. I'm trying to get some transitional colors as I go from darker to light, and I only have so many different grays and white, so I'm trying to get some in-between colors mixed in there as well. I'm trying to leave as much of the darker tones in the recesses as I can. I'm trying to just hit the parts of the coat that are going to be more raised with the lighter and lighter tones. And then when I get to the lightest tone, I'm going to try and hit just the most raised parts, but blend it in as well. Next up, I'm going to start using some mummy robes to work that into the coat. It's my only off-white color that I have. And this still gives me a little bit of range to get that pure white highlight in. Once again, just trying to focus on getting those raised parts of the coat. I do still have some more transition work to do here to blend the colors together a bit better. Now I'm bringing out the matte white. The coat is still looking pretty dark overall at this point, so I'm being very liberal with my use of the white here. And I will try and get those extra highlights on the very tips, but I do want to brighten up the overall coat right now. So I'm definitely making sure that I get the higher parts like the upper arms and the cuff of the neck there, and trying to make sure here at the front of the coat that I'm going to get all of those edges as well. Taking a little look at the progress now, I do like how the coat is coming along. It does still need work, it's not finished. But right here, I'm going to start working on the hands. As I said, in the card art, she is wearing gloves, and I wanted to have that replicated here, so using some mummy robe first so that I do have another shade of white that can go on top to make it a little bit lighter. And while I still have the mummy robes on the palette, I'm going to start lightening up the hair. As I said, she has white hair, so I'm building up off the gray that I have on there, the necromancer's cloak, the dark gray. And I want to keep that in the deepest recesses for some shading, but I want to get the highlights working up to a pure white. Here I'm just mixing my different values of gray and white, working on the hair, trying to bring out a little bit of variety so it's not just one lump of color. And here you can see the progress, it's looking better now, and I made sure to get the eyebrows in there as well. Next up, I'm using Dragon Red to start working on the dress. I'm going to have more of a kind of burgundy color, or maroon burgundy color at the end. So I'm starting with thin coats of this to go over the black primer. Next up, I'm going to use pure red to bring up some more highlights on the dress. The red isn't going on so thick here. My goal is not to have this super bright, vibrant, pure red the whole way through, but a lot of the darker undercolors are coming through, and it's getting almost more of a dark wine color. Here on the shoes, I'm using Necromancer's Cloak, and for whatever reason, that seems to be my go-to color for shoes with this set of miniatures. Next up, I have plate mail metal, the metallic paint I'm going to be using on the buttons and the amulet of the mini. Next up, I'm going to bring a little bit of color into the lips, so I have some of my reds mixed with white, and I've watered it down a bit, so I'm not really getting an opaque color here. And here you can see the result. It just gives a little bit of variation in the face. Here I'm about to work on the eyes, so I have some matte white on a fine tip brush, and I'm just going to make a blob in each eye socket. Sorry, it's a little blurry here, but I have to get the mini close to my eyes for this part. And there you can see just a couple of blobs. Next up, using the matte black, I'm going to be painting another dot or even a small line into each white blob. After this, you just paint over the blobs with the flesh tone until you have the eyes the size that you want. Here I used some thread, a small piece of plastic, and some PVA glue to fashion up the eyepiece that you could see in the card art. I then went over it with some leather brown and some weapon bronze to bring up the correct colors. And here's the final result. I used some dark tone on the amulet to bring out the colors. I did a lot of touch-up work, especially on the coat, to smooth things out, and I put the eyepiece on the mini. Thanks for watching. We have new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Please subscribe if you enjoyed it and watch some more videos. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.